A shooting at the medical center. Police say it happened on the third floor of an apartment complex on Oak Manor Drive. That happened last night. Officers found a victim in his 20s in a hallway. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Police say a man was detained at that property. Investigators have also spoken to the victim's girlfriend. A long gun and handgun were also found at the scene, but it's not clear which weapon was used.
As Ukraine gains the upper hand in its fight against Russia, the world is waiting to see what Moscow does next.
Some Russian lawmakers are questioning the war and calling on President Putin to resign. ABC's Justin Finch is following the latest from Washington.
This stunning new video from eastern Ukraine showing what Ukraine's military claims are its fighters ambushing a Russian vehicle as part of its ongoing counteroffensive, which is now forcing many Russian soldiers back into Russia, abandoning large supplies of weapons and entire stocks of ammunition. Hasty actions, the Pentagon says, could be signs of Russia's disorganized command and control.
We're hearing reports of the Russians abandoning and not fighting, threatening to walk away from their positions.
Ukraine says its gains are growing. The country now claiming it's retaken more than 2,300 square miles of its territory, seen here in yellow, larger than the state of Delaware. Ukraine's President Zelensky careful to keep the counteroffensive's next steps under wraps.
I can't discuss details of any military actions. I think that information silence is important.
Slava Ukraini!
Across Ukraine, celebration in the streets. Ukrainian troops greeted as liberators. Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv, rebounding from Russian retaliation, killing at least one, leaving crews scrambling to restore power to thousands and even trapping people in subways. Back in Russia, a rare display of dissent. At least 18 local leaders from some of Russia's largest cities have signed a petition demanding President Putin step down, calling his unprovoked war in Ukraine damaging to Russia's future and its citizens. The White House is condemning those airstrikes on Ukraine's infrastructure and vowing continued support for Ukraine. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
A potential massive rail strike on Friday could deal another blow to the U.S. economy. It involves 7 unions that represent more than 90,000 workers at the nation's freight railroads. If they go on strike, it could bring 40% of the nation's freight to a grinding halt. A prolonged strike could lead to empty shelves at stores, temporary closures at factories that don't have the parts they need, and higher prices due to limited availability of consumer goods.
The farewell to Britain's Queen Elizabeth moves forward today. The Queen's casket will be flown to London and taken to Buckingham Palace. Now, King Charles starts today with a brief trip to Northern Ireland to receive condolences before heading to London. Because the Queen died at her summer home of Balmoral, Scotland has been the focus of the world's attention for the first part of Britain's 10 days of national mourning. On Monday, King Charles and his siblings, Princess Anne and Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, walked silently behind a hearse with the Queen's flag-draped casket to a cathedral.
A sign that the painful inflation of the past 18 months may slowly be getting better could come later today. The government expected to report that the acceleration in U.S. prices actually slowed in August compared with a year ago for the second straight month. Economists have forecast that the report will show prices jumped about 8% from 12 months earlier. That's down from a 4-decade high of 9% in June and 8.5% in July. Sharply lower gas prices are behind much of the decline, along with the cost of used cars, airfare, and clothing.